So, on today's episode of Between Sets, we're going to be talking about a very popular topic that is how to build discipline. Something that gradually um, you kind of level up to. It's not something that will just become overnight, but I can point you in the right direction at least. There is no secret recipe that is going to change you to the core. So now all of a sudden you're this different person. It all comes down to the decision whether you want to change everything about your habits or you don't. So pretty much everything that comes after the word but is an excuse. Keep that in mind. I will tell you one thing though. I will tell you that the graveyard is full of men that said I'll start tomorrow and they never did. Another thing that I can tell you as a Christian with it's on my mind 24/7 is that I owe to my family and my children to be relentlessly pursuing becoming the absolute best version of myself. And one day, when I die, I should die trying to become the best version of myself. Look, I understand it sounds cliche, but it really is the same. Whether you're gonna suffer in mental pain of looking like a loser, or you're gonna suffer in physical pain of constantly working on yourself. It's really not that different. You know, if you have trouble with pain, the pain of life as a man, I got news for you. You are up for a roller coaster, buddy. If you cannot accept the flavor of pain and learn to live with it and love it, you're just gonna get carried by life. Life is just gonna be happening to you instead of you grabbing onto it and being in control. But I will say though that if your motivation to do any of this is um, your looks, that's never going to last. Every single successful person that I know that has to do anything with any kind of a performance, it doesn't have to be necessarily athletic performance. They have much stronger motives, much more spiritual drivers, and their whys are much bigger than you would think so. I would start from looking at the man in the mirror. I would try to do a lot of self-reflecting. And by that, I don't mean you're looking at your main boobs in the mirror and imagining that you look a certain way. You can. You can. It might trigger something. But essentially, you should ask yourself, are you satisfied with what kind of a man you are internally? Your mindset, your habits, your performance, your mental health. And once you get those answers, you should take a pen and a paper and forge a pretty clear plan on how you're going to get to where you think you should. That's what I would do. And that's what I did. You know, the word you're looking for is inspiration. You're going to be able to find the inspiration internally and eternally, so you can stay on the right track. Now, when it comes to maintaining discipline, this is where it gets interesting. What's been working for me, um, I call it collecting little wins. Take a psychological trick for your mind where you would try to acknowledge every good decision that you make, even on a micro levels, and vice versa, where you would immediately stop or snap out of a bad thought, a bad habit, procrastination, laziness. For example, I had to do the laundry yesterday, and I was really tired. And as soon as that tired thought came into my mind, number one, I immediately jumped out of the bed. And that way, did not allow myself a poison to consume my brain. And B, I went ahead and I ended up doing the laundry. And then, which after I felt incredible and very accomplished. Even though it's something so minor and irrelevant, what happens is you start gaining more and more respect for yourself. So you hold yourself to a higher standard. Your boundaries are healthier. You stick to them much firmer. And that way, your decisions are vastly more important to you. So because of that, after some time, there's much more to lose. So day one, you're just a lazy slob who doesn't care what he's going to do next, versus a person who's built a plethora of days of respecting themselves. So now there's much more on the line. It's your integrity, it's your self-respect, it's your whole identity at cost that you're negotiating with. So with every day and with every win, it just becomes more and more important to you. What little decision are you going to make? Brick a day makes a house still. So regarding that, I'm at a point where those intrusive thoughts of laziness and procrastination and disappointing yourself, and negotiating with your inner demon, those kind of thoughts don't even cross my mind anymore. And even once in a blue moon they do, that's like a little insect that I can just flick like this, like a little mosquito on a calm summer night that you kind of smack with the first try. And it's all just by building that momentum and building that mental fortitude that allows you to control your mind that way. Listen, guys, the world is too unpredictable, and there's all these variables that there's nothing we can do in order to control them. The least you can do is control your own mind. You can't let your brain control you. You can't be a mood slave. You can't just let life happen to you. Right, so it's been years since I tried like getting my PRs, because that's pointless. It's all about the time of retention. Numbers don't really matter in what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not a powerlifter, but there is certain exercises that I do like getting better at, and this one is one of those. So the point that I'm trying to make is what I'm going to attempt to lift right now. I haven't ever since I was about 40 pounds heavier in over 2 years ago. So let's see. I'm on like a decent amount of sleep and pretty well carved up. I definitely don't feel like being here today, that's for sure, because I went to bed a little late yesterday and I had a couple of things going on. So there was a plenty of obstacles to deal with. So essentially, I even thought about taking the day off, just for the mental kind of rest. However, here I am. very important thing about the consistency is you can't go from 0 to 100 overnight. What I mean by that is you can't just like never go to the gym and then one day just like decide to become a bodybuilder overnight and then start going 7 days a week. I've seen it happen a lot and I've done it myself. And the only thing that you'll do is you'll create subconscious, so you'll create a resentment towards the new routine because your body's in shock. It sounds a little lame, but what you have to do is actually kind of ease your way into it because it's much better doing 3 times a week for a year than 7 times a week for 2 weeks and then get sick of it. The consistency and the routine is what you should seek. And then once that foundation is there, you can slowly start adding more of everything. More days, more weight, more food. The same applies to food. It is very hard when you go cold turkey from eating disgusting plastic food 99% of your time, and then all of a sudden you're gonna go and like eating apples and lettuce. It doesn't really work like that. You literally fall into shock, and you will crave sugar more than oxygen. So you can be a little more rigorous when it comes to diet, but you still have to ease into it. Like you have to kind of alter the ratio of healthy and unhealthy. And if you're not as rigorous and as self-disciplined as I am at this time, you can live by 80-20, 80% versus 20% rule, where 80 is planned meals and 20 is you allowing yourself to have some cheat meals and relieve yourself from the hard mean diet that you're on. I don't. I don't have any cheat days. In the past 85 days, I had, I believe, one or two. Um, and I don't even like to call them cheat days because it makes me feel like I cheated on something or someone by an accident or lack of discipline, which is not the case. They were planned alternative meals. What I mean by that is based on my calorie intake prior that day, that was well calculated and those calories were accounted for. So overall, I didn't really cheat. I just was able to get in my calories in a different way for that day, which is a big difference.